Hello, my lovely humans. Today will be something different because we are basically extremely lazy the last 2 days and we try to record some vlogs, but it doesn't went as expected. Yeah, basically more failures, and I say no to more failures in the vlogs. Or there will be a lot of failures, but not today. Today we will be doing a review of the game named Cuphead. And why? Because you can play this game in cooperation mode, and I think because we both like games, we will give you a small review and I will create different type of video. So if you're just jumping randomly because you're watching for the review, there will be no reviews at all in the future. This is like special, so I'm doing vlogs. If you like vlogs, check them. If you don't like them, check this review and bye bye. I'm just honest.
But it is a cool game, actually. Like, if you want to play it singular, that's great. But if you want to share it with like your bestie or in couple, it's a nice option. You can share some time and release some stress and kill bosses.
And yeah, as a couple, I can recommend it because then you will see a lot of different personalities of someone else.
If you are competitive, sometimes you want to make it.
Yes, and this is basically, I would say, the motto of this game. You want to make it.
Yeah, and you do it in cooperation. It's not like you're fighting each other. It's like fighting the enemies together and bah.
Yeah, and first thing what I would like point out is the graphic style.
It's amazing. I love it. I like cartoons, so I like the style, the surrealistic look at it, and it's pretty much based on Walt Disney's old school type of graphic.
Yes, exactly. So it's based on, like, let's say 30s, 1930s. You will enjoy each character in the game. As you're speaking about the bosses, about the towns you walking through, everything is nice. I would say this game looks amazing.
Oh wait.
And if you don't know anything about the Cuphead, basically it's like a boss fight focused mainly game where you're fighting bosses. It's not about the boss fights like in modern games where you have like shitload of HPs and you just need to take a lot of time. Each level is always like 3-4 minutes max.
Yeah.
But you will spend like hours sometimes to do it properly, which is good.
Or sometimes days to kill one boss. But it's nice because you want to kill it.
Exactly, and I love skill-based games which are really focused on the skill. So everything is basically simple if you know how to do it. Otherwise, it's extremely hard.
You need skills and you need weaponry
And practice.
and a lot of practice.
Yeah. So this game is basically divided in, like, I would say 3 different type of levels you can make. The first is, it's called hit and run or shoot and run. I think hit and run or something like this.
It's run and go.
Run and go, maybe. And this is classic 2D platformer game, just scrolling from the left to right. You're jumping, you can imagine something like Super Mario, Sonic, and basically these type of games. It's cool, you're collecting coins like in Super Mario. And because you're receiving some coins, then you can buy some upgrades later. We will go through this later. The second stage is the flying ones. I think you like them, right?
No. I'm a terrible pilot. I'm skillful jumping and running and obstacles, but flying is just not my thing. But it's still cool, and you have to shoot at the bosses.
Yeah, and bosses, this is basically the third type of the, let's say, levels you can met. And this is just the boss fight. So you have some badass boss who's absolutely amazingly drawn, animated, and everything makes sense. You at the beginning you will suffer a lot.
The expressions of the bosses are priceless. The graphics and the way they express every detail is really cool.
Yeah, and as we said, everything is based on the skill. So after you progress to some boss, you will see what the boss can do, and then you need to react to it. You need to adapt your playstyle and sometimes change the weapon.
Yeah, or like if you have the 2 characters, If you're playing with a partner, the lead character is Cuphead and his brother is Mugman. I am Mugman.
I'm Cuphead.
I was begging for mercy and it didn't work. So he sold to the devil. That's basically the story behind it. And then you need to kill all the bosses to recuperate the souls and give it back to the devil, so you can get your life back. And every boss has its life on its own, and that makes it really cool. The story behind it like feeds a lot in the what's happening, the techniques you need to use, and the weaponry you need to use in every stage.
Yeah, and this is, I think, good to mention. You said story, I will say soundtrack, because the score for this game is absolutely great. It's just addition to the atmosphere you just playing, and it's completely like melt into the game.
Yeah.
And then it melts your brain, but this is different. Some songs are kinda annoying after 10 hours of playing.
High pitch.
Because as we said, you can play it as a single player, but you can play it in 2 players. Sometimes playing it with 2 players can be easy, because then if the first player died, you can revive him. There's a benefit. But the downside of it, everything's getting a little bit harder, everything is getting more confusing, there's too much of stuff ongoing.
If you distribute the task in certain stages, being with a partner is really, really helpful. That alone can be tricky, but as you can have the help of a partner, basically that makes the stage harder.
Yeah, and sometimes if you have this hit and run levels where you really like going from the left to right and something is happening, so it's basically shifting your vision still forward, and you need to do something on this speed. So if your partner is lagging behind or you're too much like advanced in the front, it's making more mess than anything else.
You get screwed.
Yes. And let's say something about the guns, because what is, I would say, special about this game, you can buy some guns, you can buy some specials, or basically you gain specials by progressing the game, and you can buy some charms. Each gun has different damage and the behavior of the bullets. So then it's getting even more tricky.
Yeah, sometimes you need to know the how the fight is gonna go in that stage. So you have to like quit the game and go and rearrange your weaponry. 2 guns that you're allowed to bring in the stage, and you need to use it in every part of that stage differently and smartly and conveniently.
Yes.
And on time.
And you need to be prepared, because everything in this game, I would say it's planned, but there's some variety in some levels which can be different, like the spawn of the monsters can vary. In the boss fight, sometimes you have like, let's say, 4 different types of things which can happen, and everything can be random. So sometimes you will meet this first, sometimes this will be like the last one. So you need to always adapt yourself, which is great, because then you can always do something and you're not bored sometimes.
That is actually a great feature, that it's not like a linear thing that it's happening always the same, then you get used to it and you can master it. It always changes the direction where the objects or the enemy is coming from, or even the speed of each one. Sometimes you think like, okay, he takes 2 seconds and then I can jump. No, sometimes it just comes like boom. And it's never the same. So you can quit the game, retry and retry. It's going to be different every single time.
Yeah, and sometimes it's switch and it's different after, let's say, 10 or 15 minutes playing. So you know how to do it. You're completely prepared. You're doing your stuff. You know, you're smashing the buttons. And you have the sequence in your head, you know. 1, 2, 3, jump, left, jump. And then in 15 minutes, no. Let's switch it in clockwise. I'm like, no way.
You cannot be planning. You have to be very reactive to it. Skillful and reactive. Mm-hmm. That's the key of it.
Yeah, and I would say this is something, as you can summarize the whole game. It's just skill-based game, and you need to react, you need to adapt, and you need to have fun.
Yeah, I think it's fun. I think it's still fun. Again. Yeah, sometimes I got a bit like, because you want to make it, but
yeah, and I think we said everything.
Yeah.
So if you like playing games, or if you're in these days of quarantine at home and you have someone to play with, I would say go for Cuphead. At IGN, it's having almost like 90% review, so I think this is more than guaranteed it will be fun.
Graphically speaking, beautiful artwork, very fun, very speedy, and you can do it in the comfort of your home. Share some time, and we strongly recommend to give it a try. You're gonna like it.
Yes, just stay in it like for an hour or two, and you will love it.
Yeah, we did.
We did. Yes, and this is also for today. No traveling, nothing. And if you're in country and you're in some lockdown or something like this, go for Cuphead. Okay. Have a lovely day and see you next in normal vlog. So if you love vlogs and you just come for the Cuphead, maybe you can try to check them, right? Sell out.
Subscribe.